Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Hopefully, by the time I'm talking, more people are going to join us today. Um, it's really a pleasure for me. Actually, I like to do those events. Of course, I like to do them physically typically, but I mean, with the circumstances, with the weird and unprecedented period we're going through, we're gonna have to use the technology again and to do those events live. But of course, we can't wait to host you and to receive you in our facilities, in our future facilities, existing campuses. We have such great facilities that we're always very eager to show to show them to you actually. Um, my name is Marco. I am Business Development Manager for CodeBoxx. I'm going to be the host today. Chances are that if you're emailing us, messaging us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever platform, I'm the one on the other end answering you. So it's always a pleasure for me. It's always a pleasure for me to do those events. Typically, in the past, we've done some events we've done some info sessions, but I feel like the little presentation I was putting up there was maybe a bit lengthy, and it was not necessarily answering you guys your questions basically. So that's why we changed the format a bit. It's going to be really about you questioning me, answering and asking questions, me answering. We're going to touch upon a few subjects before we do that, though, because we've had tremendous momentum at CodeBoxx for the past few months, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about a few announcements that we've made in the recent weeks. So again, I'm very happy to be here. Feel free to join. Feel free to already start. And I'm going to see if we already have some questions. But of course, that's going to be after I've proceeded with the few announcement I have to make. And I'm just going to go here, right there. Um, so, as I was saying, those events, they're very important to us. We've announced a few things, so we're gonna go and just yeah. Wait a minute, that's great actually. All right, so I'm so excited to talk about this because as I said, we've proceeded with a few announcements. But and by the way, this event is going to be in English. It was in the event's description, but we've had prior French events. French-speaking people, don't worry if you're here. Just type your question in French. I'm going to be answering in English just to make sure everyone's understand because we don't want to mix things up. But feel free to stay. Feel free to answer your questions. I'm going to be very, very happy to answer your questions as well. So as I was saying, there's a few announcements that we've made, and the latest news and all that stuff, it's really about the opportunity because, of course, like any business, like anyone, the past few months they've been a challenge. They've been challenging. I mean, overnight we had to move an ongoing cohort, should I say, to a remote format to adapt and to respect the restrictions of public health officials. Um, we had to transform it. The cohorts we finished those cohorts. The cohorts that started in May, we had to do them remotely as well. And we're gonna do them. We're gonna keep doing them in a remote format. The cohort starting on August 31st. And even though it's been challenging for a variety of reasons, I mean, suddenly you're working from home. Maybe you got kids, you got a dog, your wife, or your girlfriend, your boyfriend, are at home with you. But at the end of the day, and looking back, it has created so many opportunities for us at CodeBoxx, and I'm talking really on both sides of for our two business units, because as you might already know, we have, of course, and it's probably the reason why you're here today, but we have the coding bootcamp part of it, and we have the digital workshop aspect of it. Um, the bootcamp, and there's opportunity in both, and I'll explain you why. Because for the bootcamp part, I mean, you've seen it. If you're following the stock market a bit, and for the past few weeks, past few months, which companies are the fastest growing and are just pulling everybody up? It's the tech companies. And the labor shortage in technology was massive before the pandemic, but it's going to be even worse because now technology is is everywhere, is in our everyday lives. We have to use it. People who didn't use it, I'm sure you had to do probably a Zoom call um, or a FaceTime with your grandmother, which you've never done before. But that's what those times created. That's where we are right now, and the demand for great developers, for great technologists is just going to grow even more, on top of the fact that we've been talking about the digitalization of jobs for the past years. And we know that there's going to be job losses on one side, but there's going to be as many or even more created on the other side. But there's a skills gap to fill, obviously. So that's where CodeBoxx comes in as an efficient, as a quick method to reorient yourself. So I think as a for the bootcamp side of it, and for you guys, it's an amazing opportunity to really launch your career in tech for the upcoming months, where the demand is going to grow like never before. From what we can gather as information so far. And for the digital workshop aspect and part of the business at CodeBoxx, well, obviously, um, I mean, all the e-commerce stuff, that's what we specialize in. Our current CEO and founder as leave his footprint as a guy in the e-commerce business for the past 15, 20 years. Our largest client currently has been Lucky Brand. It's not a secret, it's public, but I mean, this client would have never become so big, and that project would have not become so big without the pandemic. So, of course, and obviously, there's a lot of negative, and I think, but I like to see things positively, and that's why I believe it has created, and it's gonna create amazing opportunities for both you people, you guys who want to just register and just reorient yourselves, but also on the projects aspect of it, and just on how technology is going to become even more important in our daily lives in the future. And I'm saying that because, of course, on the digital workshop aspect of the business, well, there's a lot of projects that we never would have the chance to work on, actually, if it was not for the pandemic. We're talking about e-commerce. We've had an amazing podcast with Catherine from Samara. Well, of course, and all that sudden need, and we're talking about Lucky Brand, who were on the verge of a bankruptcy, and then we came in and we salvaged everything in terms of, and they were sexy enough so that Spark just actually bought them. So that was the fastest exit out of a bankruptcy ever in the history of the United States, because, well, at least we played a big role in it because we really worked on their technology and on their digital transformations. That's a massive retailer in the United States, Lucky Brand. And now they're part of the big Spark group, which already has Nautica, Aeropostale. I think they have 5 or 6 brands. And that's again opportunities for us at CodeBoxx. So what generated so much momentum for us over the past few weeks. We proceeded to, like, I think we've been, I don't know, 3 or 4 announcements in the same week. One of them is our online campus. So I'm just gonna do the genesis of what happened here, and so just so you understand, because when we had to move our cohort to a remote format in March, when everything happened for the first time, well, of course, we had to adapt so quickly. And I want to take a few seconds to just salute and thank our whole team. I mean, obviously, I'm involved, but I'm not in the day to day of the school aspect of it. So, Mathieu, Patrick, Nadia, Martin, Nicolas, of course, who played a role, but really the all the coaches who played a big role, David, Mathieu, just wanna salute you just for the amazing job that you've done to adapt the program and to make sure everyone finishes, and to make sure we can start the May cohorts in a remote format as well and still have success, because that's what led to the launch of the online campus, actually. Um, it was such a great success. Of course, we were maybe a bit more severe because there's that soft skills part that it's tougher to evaluate because it's crumbs, it's online stuff. But at the end of the day, we've had our record scores. So some participants on given weeks, they receive scores that we've never seen before in all the cohorts, in all the physical cohorts that we've made. So basically, it was one reason why we said, okay, so why not offer the program online for people anywhere in the world? So that's what we did, and that's what we launched. And so you can register. There's a cohort starting in January for all our campuses, for Quebec, Montreal, for online. And that program is exactly the same. Of course, the conditions cannot be the same, because if someone from India or from Russia or from France wants to follow our program, where we're not locals there, we don't have local partners, we don't have a branch of our digital workshop. So the all aspect of the job guaranteed and the pay only when you get hired and all that stuff can be part of it. But it's still our chance to offer our unique business simulation program to anywhere in the world. So we have a few. That's a big announcement coming up. We're refining everything. Um, Eventually, we'd like, and for now, it's exactly the same program. So I want to repeat that again, because all the deadlines and all that aspect, it's really the same. So if you were waiting on that online campus just so you can do it at your own pace or all that stuff, it's not there yet. It's not that. We're currently looking at something like that with our team, but it's not the current online version of it. That's going to be part of the questions that I'll be very happy to answer today. But we've been modified. We've done modifications to our website actually to really split the two, so you can either go on the campus aspect of it or on the online version of it. But so that was a great news. But the most exciting news, in my opinion, was the launch and the opening of the registrations for a new Tampa campus. So Florida people, if you're among us today, I salute you. Thank you for joining us. Of course, I've put a palm tree right over there, so you're not too disappointed just to maintaining the environment. Um, no, but jokes aside, that's part of our very aggressive expansion plan. We have a truly unique program. We have the most accessible concept out there, and we want to expand that all over the world. We'll start by, of course, North America, but we really want to expand that all over the world. And we identified Tampa as the first one. And I want to take a few minutes to speak about the collaboration that we're getting so far. People at Tampa EDC, Adam, GP Dubuque at St. Pete's EDC, Jill and Karen at Tampa Bay Tech. We're really working with local actors. Mario from Career Source Tampa Bay. I've talked with Jennifer today, exchanged email with Jennifer from Career Source Pinellas today as well. We really are working with local community actors, and because we want to become locals. That's what we did in Quebec, that's what we did in Montreal, that's what we're going to do in Tampa, and that's what we're going to do in Philadelphia, and that's what we're going to do basically at all the campuses that we expand to in the future. So very happy to launch that. Registrations are actually doing pretty well. It's been a record actually. We've never had so many registrations in such a short period of time, because we've only recently announced that. For those of you who are in Tampa, who have already registered maybe or looking to register, of course, because of the situation, we cannot give you a specific launch date for the new campus. But one thing certain is that in 2021 we're going to be in Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay area. So that's what I can tell you. And just to leave you on a quick note about the ongoing cohorts, well, as I said, it's going very well. We've had tremendous results. The cohort, so in that, and that's another accomplishment that you're going to see in a few weeks. But in a few weeks, once the May cohorts are done, we're going to surpass the very symbolic mark of 100 graduates. So that's massive for us. Such a young company and a young boot camp. So we're very happy about that. We have cohorts starting on August 31st. Actually, it's going to be the largest fall cohorts ever, because since we were online, we were able to get a lot of people. Registrations are closed for August 31st, because of course we're August 19. August 31st is really coming in fast, so we always have to close it a bit early on because of course when you register for a court and you start the enrollment process, I mean, well, there's quizzes to complete, there's a contract to sign, there's the security deposit to pay, and there's a lot of exercises as well to make sure you're ready to go, and that's even more important now that you're in a remote format. So that's pretty much it for all the updates and the announcements. So I'll take a look if we have some questions. I'll be happy to answer, and I'll just check that. All right. If you are in for some questions, that can be right now. I'm just gonna update my stuff here to see. So no questions for the moment, but I've done that pretty quick actually. I've been only talking for about 16 minutes. So what I can do is maybe talk about our fact section because basically I'm here to answer your questions. So I'll be very happy to go over what people frequently ask us. Just yeah, and right here. All right, perfect. Um, So one of the questions we get the most are, of course, listed in the facts section of our website. But I'll go with the one that's probably I don't know, it's really anecdotal, but how much does it cost? So CodeBoxx, the physical campuses, we have physical campuses in Montreal and in Quebec. We're going to have one in Tampa. And the way we work is, as I said, we are really establishing ourselves as locals. So as soon as we get into a city, we have partners and we establish a branch of our digital workshop who perform some digital transformations projects as well. Um, so and all that to say, how much does it cost? Is that because our concept is, and I've said earlier, the most accessible, and we've done a competitive analysis, and that's truly what we get out of it. Because actually, everyone's accepted. So if you don't have a high school diploma, if you don't have programming experience, if you're 18 or if you're 52 years old, it doesn't matter. At CodeBoxx, our mission is really to give a shot at a career in technology to as many people as possible. Um, Half of our graduates have never programmed before CodeBoxx. So that can give you an idea of how open we are to, because everybody has potential, everybody has unexploited potential, and that's really our main focus. So first, everyone's accepted. Second, you get a laptop. Third, you don't pay anything before you're hired by a company following your graduation. So, how much does it cost? That's the great question that I've talked about earlier. Well, it costs nothing in tuition fees before you're hired. Once you're hired, we calculate an amount equivalent to 20% of your first year salary. So, just to give you an example, if you earn a contract or if you're on it on your employment contract once you're hired, it says annual salary without bonuses $50,000. Well, your tuition fees are going to be $10,000. We've developed a partnership with Desjardins. So as soon as week 3 of the Odyssey program, you fill out the form, you see if you're eligible, so you can get an extended period to reimburse your fees, your tuition fees. But you don't get any bill before, and that amount, it's not calculated monthly. It's really, we use the percentage to calculate the amount of the bill, but once that's calculated, it's fixed. So we've had the questions like, okay, so if after 6 months I switch jobs, and now I'm making 70K a year, well, that's not affecting your bill, your tuition fees amount. Um, so you really don't pay tuition fees. The only thing you pay is a security deposit. I'll touch upon. I think I have a question on that, but it's a security deposit that is refundable upon completion of the program. And lastly, there's that job guaranteed aspect because I've talked about the digital workshop. Well, currently roughly 75% of our graduates are working either for our partners or external companies. But the ones that didn't get a job externally speaking with partner companies or with external companies, well, we hire you within the digital workshop and we put you on our projects. We're talking about Lucky Brand. I think there's 8 people on that project right now. We have a mobile application as well. And you have a lot of autonomy, and you're supervised by a team of professionals. So by the time I was speaking, I've seen that I've had a few questions coming in, so I'll be happy to answer that. Just give me a quick sec. So, all right, all comments. I'll start with the first one. What percentage of participants from the 2-week Genesis qualification are able to go forward with the full 14 weeks program? That's an excellent question. Thank you, David. Actually, the percentage is really it's not the same from cohort to cohort. I think our average is like 70%. So out of 10 people, there's 7 who makes it to the Odyssey program. But what's the good thing about it is I've said earlier that our objective is to give as many people as possible a shot at a career in tech. So if you're not sure that tech is for you, if you're not sure you're gonna basically become a great developer or whatever, well, the only thing you know is that you're accepted and you don't pay any tuition fees before you graduate and you're hired by a company. So the 2-week selection program called Genesis, for let's say for the 30% who don't actually, there's multiple reasons. Some of them they just realized technology was not for them. Some of them failed, or some of them simply did not fail but decided that they didn't like the it was too fast for them, or for whatever reason. There's actually very two main reasons, but it can be whatever. But the what I want to say here is the only thing you have to do is enroll, start Genesis, complete Genesis, and if it's not for you, we give you your deposit back, because I think that's a question that I have. So I'm going to talk about that while I'm talking about the Genesis aspect of it. Um, the enrollment process. So when you register for a cohort at CodeBoxx, you have, and just give me a quick second. Yeah. So when you register for a cohort, a few weeks before the start of the cohort, we launch the enrollment process where you have quizzes to complete, a contract to sign, a $2,000 security deposit to pay, and you have preparatory exercises, as I said. So that deposit is really important. It's actually probably one of the most important aspects of the business, because that's how we make sure that everyone has skin in the game, that everyone's accountable. But that deposit is really easy to get back, meaning the only thing you have to do is complete the program. If you fail the Genesis program, but you've completed it, you get your deposit back, and the only thing it costs you is 2 weeks of your time to learn about great things in technology, or to discover it was not for you, or to go back and practice and come back to another cohort. But the distinction is really about completing compared to abandoning, compared to giving up. So if you enroll for Genesis and after 5 days you quit, you won't get your deposit back, because you took a place and then you abandoned. The only thing we ask for people is that they complete it. At the end of the 2 weeks, if you deliver a project, if you've showed up to meetings, if you've done your 2 weeks and you fail, or you have success, but you say, you know what, technology is not for me, I'm not going to be great at developing. The only thing you have to do is to complete the program, and we're going to give you your deposit back. Same thing goes for Odyssey. So it's really about the completion of the program, fail or success. But that's really the notion that separates the refundable aspect of it. Do we get it? Do you get it back or not? It's really easy. The only thing you have to do is complete the program, fail or pass. So that's kind of how we do it. So Maxime, that was your question. That was a great question. Andre says, "Hi, Andre. I know I know you were at the past physical event. So unfortunately, we're a few months a few months later on, and we're still doing this live. But um, How it's going to work with the evaluation of the soft skills now that everything's online? That's a great question, actually. Um, when I say that we developed really, and we've really replicated the physical campus. So the way we evaluate it typically on a physical cohort is basically you have a coach, you have a mentor, that's part of your team. You have a bi-daily scrums, so scrums in the morning, scrums in the afternoon. You have some small meetings with your coach, with your mentor, of course, all the other coaches. They're going to move around. They're going to see. We're going to be there. I can't say that it's exactly the same as having a campus director in the room, but we've really been able to create an environment where it's the same. So to give you a quick example, we're working with a tool called Discord that most of you, I mean, if you're a gamer, you most likely know about Discord. So we're using Discord a lot just so we make sure that between 8 9 and 5 6 p.m., 8 9 in the morning, 5 or 6 p.m. In the evening, that people are there. So a coach can just drop by at any moment and check if you're working on your stuff, check if you're there, can just call a meeting. Then we have scrums in the morning, we have scrums in the afternoon. Your coach can call meetings, I don't know, at 1 p.m. just to see how it's going. So we've really been able to replicate the same mechanism, because in the classroom it's a bit the same thing. We have a coach who's always there, ready to answer questions, but sometimes we ask him to move around. He's checking around. You have your mentor, so it's really exactly the same thing, but it's just that it's done remotely with different tools that we're using. So to give you, so we have, let's say, we're using Slack as a communication tool as well as an environment, and there's a channel dedicated to questions. So it's the same thing, and the process has not changed. At CodeBoxx, the escalation when you're stuck on something, the first reflex you should have is always to look up on Google and look up online and look up for tutorials and look up for theory, look up for videos, look up for lectures. Then you can move on to, okay, maybe someone around me, some of my teammates, they might have solved that problem before. And then the third step is always to go and see a coach, because that one thing is for sure is if you go during a physical cohort, if you just throw your laptop at a coach and say it doesn't work, there's no chance he's going to answer you if you've not done your research and if you've not, like, if you display that kind of attitude. So it's really the same process, but if once you've worked, I mean, 25 minutes on something and you've been stuck, then and all your Google search results are purple because you've been you've been over them over and over again. Well, you go in the questions channel, and the coach that is currently on duty is going to answer you. Is going to maybe use TeamViewer to control some stuff on your laptop, or is going to call for a Zoom meeting. Or so we have done such a great job using all the tools available to replicate that aspect. So I hope it answers your question, Andre. But that was a really good one. Um, Next up, let's see. Uh, Okay, that's what there was. I feel that if we do the 2 weeks we passed, but find out that the pace is too much and decide to quit, is the 2000 refundable? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I mentioned. After 2 weeks, you got the decision. If you're very good and you quit, of course, we'll be sad because you probably had a great career in front of you. And I mean, that's our main objective, to give a chance to as many people as possible. But after 2 weeks, if you pass or if you fail, you have the decision. If you complete the program, you're allowed to get your deposit back. That's your decision. So you shouldn't fear about that. But that was a good question, Errol. Um, did you add any partner company in Montreal that had higher participants at the end? Absolutely. Of course, we only have one cohort to talk about. So Covio had hired some. We have external companies have hired some. The percentage that we hired at the digital workshop might be a bit higher, probably because of COVID. We've had some partners that say, okay, we're going to delay hiring for those people. But so the percentage that we had to hire with the digital workshop is a bit higher. But we've had the partner companies or external companies that had hired graduates so far. But again, we only have one cohort to speak about. So I'll be able to give a more precise answer in a few months when we'll have at least a second cohort and all that stuff. Hi. What the hours of the class, and if we miss 1 2 day, can we make the class alone during the evening? Do we need the mentor at every step with the laptop? Jean-François, that's a good question. Actually, your success depends on it. Um, if you're late to if you're late to the first four scrums, you're going to lose points. It's to have success at CodeBoxx is all about being committed. Is all about having the right attitude. Is all about really putting in the effort. So if you miss 2 days, there's no way you're going to deliver a project that week because the program is exactly the same as I've mentioned before. There's a deadline every week. Well, except for the Genesis program, we give you the requirements document and you have 2 weeks to deliver something, to deliver your project, because that's the selection program. But once the Odyssey program kicks in, there's a deliverable at the end of every week. So we give you the requirements document on Monday. We do a scrum to make sure sometimes we can guide you a bit more if you need, maybe if we fear you can basically go everywhere and shoot in every direction. We're gonna try to put you on tracks just so you start the week on the right foot. But if you miss 2 days out of 5, there's no way you're delivering a great project on that given week. So, I mean, if you think you're going to do this part time, or if any candidate thinks he can maintain a job that's, uh, I mean, if you have a job during CodeBoxx and it's more than just a few hours on weekends, you're gonna have a hard time. But I mean, at the end of the day, what we ask for is a presence on Discord and on Slack and on all the channels on Zoom and at the scrums between 9 and 5. But that's no different than what we ask candidates of physical cohorts. It's exactly the same thing. But reality is, if you work 9 to 5, you won't deliver a project that's excellent. You won't deliver a project that you've gone the extra miles. I mean, it's always a matter of gathering points and doing more and doing more. If you work 9 to 5 and ask every participants and ask any graduates of our previous cohorts, if you only do 9 to 5 like you're asked to, you're going to get, well, it's going to be hard to deliver really something excellent and something amazing every week. Maybe some weeks you get out of you're going to deliver good projects, but reality is, uh, the average amount of hours you have to put in every week to deliver a project is 50 hours. So from Monday to Friday, you're really working on your projects. Over the weekend, of course, you try to relax a bit and change your mind and all that stuff. But again, you've taken so many notes during the week, maybe to put some order in your notes. Sometimes on some weekends, we'll ask you to set up and to configure your working environment for the next week. So you'll have tools to install and all that stuff. So it's really a 4 months where you must be committed. And I don't want to spoil the welcoming conference that Nicholas is going to give to future candidates, but I mean, you truly need to have a discussion with your family, your friends, saying, I might be a little bit more absent. I might be a little bit more less present in the next few weeks for the next 4 months, because and it's even more important that you have that discussion with your family now that the cohorts are remote, because one of the tips that we give, every candidate actually will send that document over in the next few days. We've prepared documents of the top tips to have success during a remote cohort at CodeBoxx. One of the tips is to have a close working space and to really establish the hours in which you're not available because you're in a scrum, because you might be in a meeting with a coach. That's all aspect that it's really what we want to replicate what's been going on during physical cohorts. So I hope it answered your questions. I hope it answered your question, and I forgot Jean-François. So if you have anything else, just feel free to ask. Do we have? We need to see commitment. Thank you, Patrick. So actually, you know what? At some point, and I can't do that right now, but at some point, I'd like to do more. And because right now it's one man show, but I'd like to have maybe a campus director or our chief program officer, Mathieu, on board. Because Patrick just joined us in the comment, and Patrick Thibault, who's the Montreal campus director, who's been doing a tremendous job. As I've said before, I saluted Patrick. If you were not among us, I salute you again for the great job you've been doing with all the remote cohorts and all the challenges that we had to overcome over the past few weeks. But Patrick is saying we need to see commitment. And that's all about it. That's all about it because we've seen people either starting with commitment or with no commitment and trying to. I mean, you can easily not believe me or not believe us and try to, I mean, do something. But every time someone has done that, it has not end well in terms of either he or she failed, she abandoned or whatever, because it's really demanding, and it's a short 4 months, but when you think about it, the reward at the end is just worth it 1,000 times. So thank you, Patrick, for that comment. That's much appreciated that you join us today. And I think, do we have another one? Okay, Jean-François, that's been answered. Let's see. We need to see commitment. Yes, Patrick. All right, that one. Maxime, can you talk about what we actually see in class? Coding, which languages, framework, and other stuff, soft skills. Yes, I can talk about that, absolutely. Uh, I won't I won't give you all the themes because they're all on our website under the program tab. You can check it out. But basically, the program is first. It's a unique business simulation. So you really have a fictitious client that every week is gonna give you requirements, and he's gonna want to. Um, so yeah, so basically you start with the Genesis program. That's web development. So that's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Node.js. Then you have basically a website. You start. We give you a template in Bootstrap 4, and basically you have a template with Smarty, and then you modify it, and then there's a requirements document. Languages, we see C Sharp, we see Golang, JavaScript, Python, Ruby on Rails. So the framework we use a lot is, of course, Rails. We do Ruby on Rails when you're building your web application. You do some React. You're gonna work. You're gonna do REST APIs. You're gonna connect APIs. It's really a variety of themes. Again, I don't want to bore you and just enumerate them all. But at the end of the day, you start the program, and then you grab the first rope here, and then you're just pulling the rope until the end of the program. The first part of the program is really the fundamentals. So I've talked about APIs, cloud, databases, multiple languages, web applications, mobile applications. Then there's a consolidation at week 9 to validate what you've acquired as skills and practices and what you've put in your toolbox over the first few weeks. There's the consolidation. That's really the only individual part of the cohort, and then you move on to the next week, the end of the program, where it's more about it's to give you quite an edge on the market, but it's not necessarily the thing you'll do the most when you start your new job. So we're talking about AI. You build an Alexa skill actually for your client. You're going to do some blockchain, DevOps, security, TDD, all that stuff. Again, I don't want to be redundant, but it's all on their website. If you go on codeboxx.biz, slash the program, or just choose the actually just choose the program tab at the top in the header, and you'll have all the themes available there. And I really like to talk about the soft skills aspect, because that's what we've been complimented about the most by companies, by all that stuff. So there's 13, I think it's 13. Is it 15? Anyway, there's 13 there's 13 criterias that you're evaluated on every week. So it's not just delivering a good quality project in terms of hard skills and technical aspect of it, but it's all about also the soft skills. So roughly 25% of your weekly score is dedicated to those 13 criterias. We have three pillars at CodeBoxx that are very important: excellence in execution, always go the extra mile, and always keep a simple and flexible mindset in front of complex situations. If you follow those three pillars, you're gonna have a great experience at CodeBoxx, and actually, you're gonna be great at whatever you do in life. Because even if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, if you're a nurse, if you're whatever is the current job that you're performing in, or the future job that you're gonna perform in, if you're excellent in your execution, if you always do more than what the client asks for, and if you're always really poised and simple and flexible, whatever we throw at you, you're going to be a great employee. So those are the three pillars, and we have also multiple criterias about leadership, communication, um, teamwork, attitude, all that stuff. I don't remember it all, but we have 13. Well, actually, we have three pillars and 10 criterias, as I've said, that are evaluated on a weekly basis. And it's happened in the past that very good projects don't end up on top of the power ranking because the soft skills, and on that week he's been not a good teammate, he's been working on his own, not communicating clearly, bad attitude, or whatever. That's all the things that we evaluate, and that's actually what's important for companies. Ask any company, and I think we've talked with a lot of them in the past 2 years, and they've hired a lot of our graduates in the past 2 years. And when we follow up with them and ask what they like the most, it's not the fact that they know Python, or they were initiated to AI, or they were initiated to mobile application development. It's the fact that whatever they throw at at our graduates, whatever their attitude is great, whatever they throw at our graduates, they're not afraid. They're gonna just accept it and just look for it, look for the information. Flexible and nimble mindset. Again, I remembered that. They're always go for the extra mile. They always excel in their execution. They always have a great attitude. They're a great teammate. They display leadership. All that stuff is what we get complimented the most about. So I hope it answered your question, Maxim. Um, Again, all comments. Sorry, I missed the information about the last percentage you hired and the percentage external enterprises hired. So far, it's been, I think it's 70%, 70% or 75% of the graduates hired by either external or partner companies, and the remaining is with us for the percentage. So I hope it answered your questions, Evandro. The last percentage you hired, I think for the the cohort that ended up in January, I think it was 50-50 maybe. So we hired half, and external companies or partners hired half. Of course, I mean, I can't downplay the fact that the COVID is playing a large role. I mean, we've had I mean, businesses have been laying off people, so that plays a bit. But it's kind of I mean, if you're at their Airbnb, for instance, that's a tech company. They laid off a lot of people, but it's going to come back in the near future, and a lot of those roles have been filled. So that's it. So I would answer your question, Evandro. Do I have another one? A lot of people are saying that being a good coder programmer is not possible in 4 months. What do you say about that? Well, I don't know who are those a lot of people, because after almost 100 graduates, Well, I think the concept has proven itself. I mean, uh, and to be perfectly honest, coding boot camps have been existing for almost 10 years now in San Francisco. You can become operational and productive after 4 months. That's the reality. Uh, will you be will you be mastering, or will you be a master of C sharp, or will you be a master of Ruby on Rails, or a master of your REST API? Absolutely not. But that's not what companies are looking for. Companies, they know what they get. They get they get an operational developer who has the right attitude, the right reflexes. He knows where to get the information. He's a master of GitHub. One thing I can promise you'll be master of is GitHub and Git, of your working environment and all that stuff. So it's absolutely possible to be a great developer, but at the end of the day, it's not. You're not going to master all those technologies after 4 months. It takes years of employment and even you could ask our coaches about that. I mean, we've had people with over 25 years experience in the industry, and if you ask them a question, there's a strong chance they're going to look out or check on Stack Overflow, or it's not going to happen a lot where they'll I mean it's going to happen because we have amazing coaches, but sometimes they'll have to check it out. They won't have all the answers on the top of at the tip of their fingers like that. So that's part of the process. But again, it's the launch of your career in technology that you do at CodeBoxx. You get a job at the end of the process because you're productive, because you're operational, because you're a good person, because you're a good developer, and then that's the start. So there's no secret here. Going forward, you're going to need to keep learning. You're going to need to stay on top of your things. You're going to need to keep taking notes. You're going to need to keep to be aware of the new technologies that are coming out here and there. You can even specialize at some point. We've had graduates in the past who have been hired specifically on some aspect. For instance, JavaScript developer. We've had that in the past. R&D developer. We've had graduates who have been hired in those roles. Programmer, analyst, all that stuff. But later on, and we've had graduates who have just discovered their passion for one specific week or one specific themes, and going forward after their 4 months of training, and now that they're in the industry, that they've launched their career, they're going to specialize in some aspects. So let's say of course, we've had we've had graduates specializing on the front end part, on the back end part, just some that like to do both. They want to be full stack. That's really up to you. But we give you all the tools, we give you all the attitudes, we give you all the practices, the good practices to become a great developer. So yeah, so that's the answer to the question. We've been at it for how long now? I'm not. We're gonna check that out. See if there's any other questions. 48 minutes. That's pretty good. I hope you have other questions, guys. I'm ready for you. So just show me. Yep. Nope. Okay, so I've answered. Oh yeah, Evandro, no problem. My pleasure. So that's about it. That's about it for the moment. I can stay a few minutes longer if maybe some other questions would pop up in the meantime. I hope we have some Florida people. I'm saluting you. All right. So maybe I can do another fact question. And I want to maybe press a very specific point. Yeah, so because you have to understand one thing, and I know we've probably some people with us today are probably already registered, or you're going to register. Just so you understand, when you register for a cohort in a campus, it automatically reserves you a seat for the cohort itself. So that's really we're and Patrick was saying we are asking for a commitment. Well, it starts with the registration. When you register, it's a commitment for you to be there on the first day of the Genesis program. Um, because basically you reserve a seat and everybody's accepted. So make sure before you even register, if you have any questions, just write to us, just so your decision is clear, because again, there's an enrollment process to complete, and nothing can disqualify you in that process, but it's mandatory. So that's why we are doing these Q&A sessions. That's why we try to be as clear as possible when it comes to the enrollment process, the deposit, the contract, all that stuff. But feel free to message us, because when you register, it's really a commitment from you to be there on the first day. I mean, I was about to say shit happens, but shit happens. All kinds of situation, especially now with the pandemic and stuff, that was kind of unexpected. Um, but all that to say that if you are looking to register for a January cohort, or maybe even the May 2021 cohort, maybe do it now, because to solve a bit of that problem of the lack of commitment of certain registrants, we're probably going to add a fee shortly. That's going to be a refundable fee, but we're gonna add a fee to make sure that everyone who registers is really committed to be part of the program. And in the meantime, I've had another question. I'm just gonna get that. Yep, right here. All comments. Where is that question? Oh, I'm gonna filter. Newest. Cindy, could you please talk more about the Genesis and the qualification process for the Odyssey? Yes, absolutely. So basically, the Genesis program is 2 weeks, and it's where the business simulation starts. So the old story, and I don't want to spoil the first document and the first presentation, but the old story is there's a company which was fictitious, who's called Rocket Elevators. It's a family business. They're doing elevators, but they have no presence online. So we basically give you a requirements document of a static website that they want at the end. So then you start with a Bootstrap 4, and then with a template, and then you work on the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. So you have, for instance, you'll have to change the colors of some part of the website, change the content of the website, change some sliders. You're gonna have to add sections to change the pictures and to change all that stuff. You're gonna have to build a quote form, so I can go on your website and see, okay, I have X amount of floors, I have X amount of apartments in my building. How many elevators do I need? So you're gonna build a quote form as well. You're gonna build 4 pages, 4 different pages total. So it's really about building a static website. There's a bit of Node.js at the end as well. So you have 2 weeks to do that. And it's really the correction for that part is really binary. So meaning at the end, when you submit something, you submit your project on the portal. Actually, you submit your repository. Well, we evaluate it with our criterias that are really binary. So for instance, you needed to change the color of that button and put it purple, and it's not done. Well, the it's not checked, it's not accomplished, it's not done. So we have lots of criterias for that. So but um, it's really the requirements document at the end of the day. So if you were supposed to, what else can I say? If you were supposed to have 3 pictures in below the sliders with 3 different sections, residential, commercial, and whatever else, and you only have 2, well, of course, on the criteria, 3 sections, blah, 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 you're not going to get the points for that. And there's a threshold of points to attain to move on to the Odyssey program. So that's how the qualification process works uh, for basically the 2 weeks of the Genesis program. I hope it answers your question, Cindy. Thank you for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you very soon for those who are registered for the upcoming cohort. And other than that, well, we'll see. We hope to see you in the near future. Thank you, guys.